What's going on, guys? Ness here. What I have in front of me today is the Super Retro-cade made by Retrobit. It's basically another plug-and-play emulation console, but this one's being heralded by most as the best one on the market. It's packed with over 90 games, but you can also add your own ROMs. So let's take a closer look at this thing and see if the claims are actually true. So once again, this thing is made by Retrobit, comes with over 90 games, it claims, and as you can see, it got a bunch of licensed titles already on there. Taking a closer look at what comes packaged with the console, you got a user manual, you have the power brick, standard power brick. It comes with two retro style game pads. Now right off the bat, I really did not like the way these felt, but another good thing about this console is that it works with pretty much any controller you plug into it. I actually have these two Mario and Luigi SNES style USB game pads that I've been using with the console, and it works just fine. An HDMI cable, a rather long one at that, and the console itself. Neat little console. Pretty decent aesthetics. So let's take a closer look at the actual unit. The console is white with these little red accents. It's really nice, if I do say so myself. Right on the top of the unit, you got the power button. Over on the face side of the unit, you have the controller port 1 and controller port 2. Both are USB ports. Over on the back side of the unit, you have an HDMI port and an AV output. It also has an SD card slot, and that's where you add more ROMs and more games to it, as well as the basic power supply back here. Now, what makes this console more unique than other emulation consoles in its same category is the fact that it automatically detects whatever ROM you put into the SD card. There's no folders, no organization, no special app you need to download, no tweaking whatsoever. You simply just put your game file on the SD card, insert it into the console, and it will automatically detect it, making it extremely user-friendly. So let's plug this thing up and actually play some games on it. The console actually is running a form of Android, and as you can see, it has a ton of games already built in. If you just wanted to play it without the SD card or adding your own ROMs, you have a ton of options available right off the bat. Playing Final Fight 2, one of the pre-installed games, and it runs beautifully, I must say. Fighter's History, which I always kind of viewed as a rip-off of Street Fighter, but a very good one at that. Runs really smooth on this thing. You'll notice a lot of Data East titles on here. As I said before, the thing has a ton of titles already built in. You could very well own this console and never add another ROM to it, and you would have a blast with it. Mega Man 2 is running really well. So now I'm going to go ahead and plug in my SD card. I have it pretty much loaded up with a ton of games, and let's just see how well the console actually detects it and plays the ROMs that I put on there. So it took about 30 to 40 seconds to detect everything that I had on this SD card, because I put a ton of games on here. But as you can see, it read them all perfectly, and here's my entire library that I got on the SD card. I'm gonna go ahead and play a SNES game, Batman Returns. Here I am trying out Castlevania for the original Game Boy. Playing the SNES version of Mortal Kombat 2. Here I am playing Sonic the Hedgehog. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, the arcade game, seems to be running really well on this thing. This thing doesn't seem to have any problem running fairly decent MAME games. So the Super Retro-cade, guys, I must say I'm very impressed with this little device. Everything I threw at it, it seemed to not have a problem playing. The only thing is you're kind of limited as to what you're able to play. I don't think it plays anything past the 16-bit era, which shouldn't be a big deal if your goal is just to play retro titles. Now, is it on par with something like the Raspberry Pi or some of the other emulation consoles on the market? No, the Raspberry Pi just has so many more emulation options available. But some people don't want to tinker with the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi takes quite a bit of setup to get it to work properly the way you want it to. I mean, it's not difficult, but some people would rather just avoid it. And this is a perfect option because it is so user-friendly and because all you have to do is load ROMs onto a SD card and it detects them right away. The fact that it is so user-friendly definitely makes this thing one of the best emulation consoles on the market. If you're not as much of a collector and are more interested in just playing the games, I would recommend this over any of the Nintendo Classic series. So I'll tell you guys right now, this thing is going to get a lot of playtime in my household. I'll put a link to the Super Retro-cade in the description below. Until next time, this is Ness, signing out.